Wildout Wednesday. Yep, I had to make this video because of how crazy things have gotten. Okay, so a follow up on the Cincinnati, Ohio brawl, downtown brawl, right? I was right about both things. Number one, they started it, they were intoxicated, and yeah, the white couple, like, no, actually I think it was just like a group of guys, and then like the wife was like, whatever, part of some other group. um and even though I was right about that, it was also like a point of contention that I said from the beginning, like, when you get the vice president, when you get like all these news media outlets, a lot of them like on the right wing side, whatever, right? They're just stoking this flame, and then inevitably the approach of, yeah, the race war, it's coming. So how I predict the race war will start this time will be the court hearing, right? So they're gonna sentence these people, and these guys, like the judge said, like everybody on the media is saying, like, they're throwing around the A word, animal, this savage, that, you know what I mean? And like, yeah, as unruly as the, like, excessive as it is, right? Like, the thing that I fear the most about this is if we have like the confrontation of these two ethnicities. Oh, by the way, if you're watching me play this game and wondering how I'm messing around in just the menus, I'm like texting people, whatever. It doesn't show that. So back to the topic. So the sentencing is going to happen, and it's going to be harsh as I predicted. Everybody, not everybody, everybody who is on the case. So the district attorney, judge, heck, even the lawyer is probably going to cut a deal for these, whatever. But like, deal as in, I don't know what that means. It's like, your clients are going to spend like the larger portion of their lives in prison. Mostly the guys, but yeah, the girl was involved. I don't know the capacity to what she's involved. Like, again, I don't want to watch the video. It's kind of on the brutal graphic side, and eventually there's going to be a release, or like, you go on like a secret hidden website like Live Leaks 2.0, and you can find the raw footage. And like, again, like, I don't want to watch the raw footage. I don't want to watch the actual footage. I just want to, like, figure out what's going on. So the guy, right? Well, at least I think they just got two or three suspects, but I only saw two, a guy and a girl, and the guy is 34 years old. So in America, uh, 20, 30 plus. Like, when do you think he's gonna get paroled? Probably like, 20, 25 years, 30 maybe, because of the brutality of the beating, like, the woman getting hit. Um, I don't know, right? Like, it just seems like all it takes is for a group of black people, activists, protesting the sentencing, and then one or two white people or white persons or individuals that are acting on behalf. Like, this could be a setup too. Like, you can have the aforementioned, and like, not a single white person is going to show up to that court case except for the family and the victims, all the people involved, accused, whatever, right? And I think all it takes is just the violence to occur outside that courtroom, and you got yourself like probably the longest lasting race war ever. Holy shit, man. Like, I didn't want it to come to this, but after watching that news segment and then hearing the judge and seeing the judge, and like, I'm gonna get into a little racist aside, just a little. I noticed that the judge is extremely blue-eyed, like extremely, like, she's older, right? So like, people tend to get like, lighter eye colors as they get older and stuff. But I bring this up is because it's like, it's a very visible us versus them conflict. You know what I mean? At least from the optics. Like, yes, you can argue that the fight, the beatings, the level of, like, lack of care whether these people were going to live or die from, like, stomping on their head. And again, like, I want them to be like, put away in jail for a long ass time. But again, like this is America, right? Like in Canada, I checked the charge, and it's only like 10 years, right? Now in America, they're gonna do a Canadian life sentence or more, which is 25. A Canadian life sentence for a beatdown. Now, do I think they deserve that much time in jail? Yes and no. Like depending on like if the people who close fist punched the woman stomped on the people on the ground, yes, absolutely. They can, whatever discretion you want to involve. But just people throwing hands and stuff, And yeah, here we are, race war. I want to shout out Tal Oran. I don't know if he watched my video. I'm actually kind of flattered if he did. Like, he's a cool guy. I learned a lot from him, especially about the Middle East, the different settlements, different peoples, all that stuff. And the reason why I say he might have watched my video is because I was pointing out that the indoctrination of the Palestinian children and like the population in general, right? And he's going around. Well, sorry, no, sorry. Tal in his video, he first shows the interview with the Palestinian woman complaining about black people in the charity or whatever organization, trying to help out, and then like getting racist slurs and all these like just being treated badly, right? And then like she the Palestinian woman who's bringing this up is saying like you're internalizing your racism, you're making this more about you, the Palestinians are way more oppressed than you. And I'm like, okay, sure, fine. uh okay, well, then it goes to another video to show like how air quotes oppressed the Palestinian people are, and it's more or less likely that they have a life, right, where they benefit from a first world nation's commercial activities. Okay, so grocery stores, ease of access to food, etc., etc. Right, and you can very much see the stark difference between Palestinians and Syrians, or Palestinians and Lebanese. Like, whether you want to point this out or not, if Palestinians are um, they're so persecuted, they're so like vilified by the Israelis. They eat pretty well, dude. They're literally looking healthy, happy, mind you, pretty like pale and like almost insanely inbred. But like again, like they're eating well. These people aren't left starving for food. And I bring this up as a point because so the second video is just going like that Tal show was him going around. This American dude, sorry, doing an interview and then interviewing these people shortly after the October 7th attack, and yeah, it's very much like they're in your face about it, confrontational about it, Israel has to die, Israel has to die type of shit, And now here we are in the like present day dealing with the ramifications of Israel. So like it's so depressing because what I'm gonna get into is something that I wish everybody did. Like I think like 6 months ago, maybe a year ago, but like okay, it's cool. So in the newest video that Tal Oran is showing, by the way, go check out his YouTube video. Cool guy, whatever. It's how people, students, I guess mainly, for the first time, are seeing the rhetoric of the Palestinian people, like what they actually think and what they really believe, and it's shaking them to the core. It's like it's like how come, like literally everybody is just like playing stupid, right? Like how come everybody is just glossing over the facts? And I'm actually wondering that too. Like, do you ever think? And this is me going to conspiracy theory. I think that there was a level of, I'm not saying involvement, but benefit from the Christchurch. Okay, what happened in New Zealand? Christchurch. Why am I stuttering that? Anyways, uh, And the benefit was, okay, look, we can't show these bad things that happen, or else people are gonna get like ideas and stuff, right? Well, like, okay, fine. With that being said, so what happens when you have something like the October 7th attack, where if you don't have like a standardized website, like an anonymous standard website that like you can judge it if you wanted to, but like it's raw footage. Live leaks was raw footage, for better or worse. And, you can see people getting killed. I remember one of the big things with live leaks back in the day was you can watch a video and it could just be something like shipping and receiving in like I don't know some foreign country, and then a piece like I guess like an entire like crate would slide off the top shelf or the top of the how they pack the skids, how they pack like all the things, slide down and just instantly kill somebody, and you'll see like the blood just like splatter out. And I bring this up because it's like you go from that to like a soft, almost playful like society, right? I'm gonna make this video. I think it's gonna be like something like 20, 25 minutes, probably 25 minutes, because I got a lot to say. Because I was watching some Asmon Gold video. Oh my god, dude! Oh my god! Like, there's so many things we got to get into. Oh, by the way, so I'm going so many different directions on off topic, but the internet, for some reason or another, is eating Mutahar alive, like eating this kid alive. Uh, they say he lied about his credentials, on his education. They say he lies about this, he lies about that. I'm like, okay, cool, but what did these like? Do these lies actually harm somebody? Do they actually amount to? I don't know. I haven't watched it all because it just seems like you're just flaming the guy for like if he wants to like appear more cool than he actually is. We all do that. I used to do that a lot when I used to go to clubs and shit. I used to lie and tell people I'm like actually older than I am because I look so young anyway. Why not? Shit catches up to you though, right? And I bring this up because it's like, wow, dude, like it's been a week. How many videos on this guy? And they keep showing up in my feed. The first time I was like wondering, like, hey, what did you do? What do you do? Right? And okay, whatever. He frauded his college degree. I again, like, who is this hurting? Like, is he employed at IBM or like someplace that like vacuum circuits are like electronics and shit, and then like you have to be like full on white coat. Uh, I think you could get like a PhD in engineering, a doctorate in engineering and shit. And then the man's just like created an entire gen. It's Muda. Let's blame Mutahar for the Nvidia five series. Remember? Yo, yeah, it's Mudahar's fault. He put the AI. He's talking about all this AI and stuff. They're like, yo, Mudahar, here, let me make you a deal you can't refuse. And then they stole his inventions, and now they're trying to bury him. And Nvidia's trying to bury Mudahar with all these YouTubers and stuff. Yo, you lied about being an engineer, Mudahar. This is a crime. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? This guy. Okay. We're both Canadian. Well, I don't know, right? Um, everybody, everybody comes after Canadians hard, dude. Like, if I got more famous, like if I do a face reveal for some dumbass reason, people are like, "Oh, good job, you idiot." Who cares? Nobody cares. But like, you know what I mean? Like, you get this a lot. Like, there's this one guy called Alpha Destiny, and people would not leave him alone about various shit. And he was just like a guy who just works out and shit. And he's Canadian. I think he's from Montreal or something, Quebec, or yeah. And just an average guy who works out. And people made web web pages, web videos criticizing him. I'm like, this other guy, what was his name? Oh man, I'm gonna continue this in part two. This is why I'm making this video so long, because like I have to segment it so that Share Factory can get all my important like stuff. So yeah, the second Canadian guy, his name is Greg Kinobody. I actually don't know his full name. Like I remembered it, but I was like, it was back in the day because this is like that's how old school it is, right? And he's like, more of the same about like all these workout coaches, workout gurus, and stuff. But I think like they went way too hard on this guy, and like by comparison, like to my knowledge, he didn't do any crypto. To my knowledge, he wasn't really ripping people off. That I don't know. I can't speak for his exercise program, etc. But like he is a far cry from like the Wes Watsons, the what do you call it? Yeah, Andrew Tate, like all these like usual people, usual suspects, and now we got like this new one, and he just won't go away. He like I went to his Instagram page just to like flame him and shit, and like yo, this guy is the most delusional guy ever, and I'm talking about Ben Aluzai or Alzai, whatever, fucking the Jewish guy who I thought was Muslim the whole time. And like you can tell like these guys are on roids and shit because like okay, I recently got my wisdom tooth out my upper right cheek. It's like cutting into my cheek. I'm like thinking to myself, well, how come is it doing it on the left side? How come it's not doing it like on the bottom, whatever, right? Uh, I gave it some thought, and then I realized something. Like, if you take steroids or growth hormone, anything like that, you age your face, you age your teeth, you age everything. Like people have like big noses, like really wide necks, and like the face is like the ultimate giveaway that like you're on something. And there's so many of these guys like Ben Alze, like they just have this face, and they honestly think that they can fool everybody into like we don't use gear, we don't use product. I think there's this other one, this like bald white dude. He looks like Mr. Clean, and like his physique is like it's decent, even though it's artificial, obviously. But like it's decent. He has the usual backstory, scam people, cryptocurrency, blah blah blah, right? Uh, Giveaway nipples. The fucking nipples are so pointy. The mammary glands, like this guy could lactate. He could lactate if he wanted to. And like, yeah, you could point to Greg, you could point to Alpha Destiny, right? Any Canadian, Mutahar. Apparently, Nux is Canadian too, or was Canadian. I don't know. And they know each other. And I used to be subscribed to Nux, and then like I saw this video of him watching hentai with like Mutahar, and it was like a little hard to watch. Like, look, dude, I jerk off to porn. Everybody, does or doesn't, whatever, right? But no, don't do that. Don't look at porn like that. Come on, use your head. But here we are, right? Like Mutahar is getting like dragged, like really, really dragged. And again, I blame him 100%. It's Mutahar. If you're watching this video magically somehow, you know what? I'm gonna put your name in the video so make sure. Mutahar. Wait, what's his name again? Is it some ordinary gamer or is that somebody else? Damn, I'm so racist. No, that's another guy. Oh shit. All y'all packies look alike. All right. Enough of that. So back on the topic of the Cincinnati race war thing, right? Like I said, when Tal Oran showed this video of like what really goes on in Palestine, what really like what these kids are growing up to watch. Like the funniest was watching the Disney characters dressed up and like saying "Death to the Jews" and shit. It's classic, man. It's classic cinema. And I'd also take it a step further and say like, yo, any immigrant, immigration system, body, whatever, that lets people like I go as far as the entire Middle East, the entire fucking Middle East lets these people in. You're just stupid. Like, at what point could you say or admit that you made a mistake and that this isn't gonna fix itself, solve itself? Because when you're dealing with cowards, the only reason they feel so emboldened is because there's so many of them, and then they can just act as a single entity or in unison, and you have a more difficult time stopping them. Like This Cincinnati mob attack, right? Which involved like, you know, three, six, I don't know how many people. So far, three people have been arrested. Two guys and a girl. Uh, Even though it's like something that they probably weren't, you know, planning on, expecting, going out there and just like, you know, getting hit or getting harassed by that guy or whatever. I, yeah, it's gonna be one of those things where we all have to everybody, just like be very careful, and especially since the media isn't gonna be there to like ask the real questions. They're just there to hear what they want to hear and then spread their, you know, bullshit lies, right? But so before like the end, this video ends, I gotta go over the man, the one, the only Asmon Gold. Shout out to more Pegasus though. You know, he's burying Hassan yet again. I actually don't even know what he did this time because it's just like, hey, oh yo, no. Damn it! I only made this 24 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna rush right through this. Speed run. So holla at your boy, more Pegasus. He just came out with the deets, the news that yet again one of Hassan's moderators, yeah, okay, he brags about having sex with beautiful women. Yep. And when you see this guy, he looks like that other, you know, leftist guy with the glasses, and they look almost just alike. And it was the same guy that showed up on Tim Pool's podcast and was like lying out of his teeth, and then like got caught, and then Tim just like lost it with this guy, just lost it. They look so alike, and like the creep factor is there. It's like they're wearing the skin of normalcy while shedding their form of treachery. Like they want to do harm. They want to have the sexual intercourse. They said that like, yo, there's one interaction with this girl, and she was like, he was like demanding sex. You gotta demand the sex, and if he doesn't, you know, you're not gonna. I don't know what she was gonna get in return, some kind of favor or some shit like that. So I had to bring that up, okay? But damn, okay, 1 minute, whatever. Okay, so Asmon Gold made this video about, I don't know who these people are, what these people are. They're a young couple, obese, very much immature, like wearing Pokemon and like all these stupid things, tatted up girls, like all septum pierced and stuff. And I bring this up just because, can you imagine you're living in a world where people are gonna vote in an election, right? And when they vote in this election, right, you're gonna have people like this voting in the election, and they have to have a say. They have, you know, fair game and stuff. Meanwhile, they're like something like, you know, they're I'm not gonna get into like their exact number of debt, but they're serious debt. And it's also because it's like, you know, they got that eating habit, and like they have a season's pass for Disneyland. But they have a kid, so I guess that's their excuse. But like, you know, what they say about like, you know, the Disney parents, right? The Disney kids. And the woman even admits that like, yo, I didn't really have a childhood, and I want to relive my childhood. I'm like, whatever, dude. I bring this up is because, can you imagine? You get drafted for a war, right? And these two motherfuckers, well, I don't care about the girl, but the guy, he gets to stay home because he's like, you know, not able-bodied or whatever excuse you can throw. And then you go out and you possibly, you know, lose a limb or die in that war. And you got to ask yourself, well, what's left? See, this is what happened to America after World War II and Vietnam, right? Now with this race war and stuff, we're going to be losing a lot of good people. I wish I made the video longer, to be honest, but maybe I'll make a follow-up, you know, just talking about these topics again. Take care.